Hi, guys, welcome to episode 7 of Bridging the Gap. And I still can't believe that we're already on episode 7, but today we're going to be reading Reddit Am I the Asshole stories. And I know I love reading these, and I know a lot of other people do too. So we're definitely going to have a lot of fun with reading through these today. Alright, so the first one is Am I the asshole for leaving my family? This is going to be an interesting one for sure. And alright, let's get started. I'm sure the title will lead most to say yes, but I feel right in my reasons to leave. This happened years ago. I married the wrong woman. My ex is internally a very angry person and wanted to be very controlling, usually in varying dramatic ways, and eventually, years of this caused our divorce. Together we had 3 boys, 3 and 4 years apart. My eldest was 9 when the divorce happened. My ex took them to her parents' house, a 20-minute drive from our house that I had built myself 10 years prior. She burned my house down not long after while I was at work. No one was hurt and I have no real proof it was her, so nothing really came of it. The fire was suspicious, but it was in the days before doorbell cameras. I think she just lit a massive fire in the fireplace. So I left. I had a job that was very specialized, high in demand, generally everywhere, and back then you could get a job with a smile and a handshake. First, I went to a major city in Canada that starts with T, saved cash for about a year, and then moved to a small town about 2,500 kilometers from here. In this small town, I kept the same job, ended up meeting another woman, and we had 1 child together. She and I are still married. My kids from my previous marriage would come to stay with us for summers during school break. I thought they enjoyed the summers. They built go-karts and raced them one year. We were always camping, and etc. My eldest dropped out of high school at home, and my younger 2 from the previous marriage eventually moved in with us for their last years of high school. They grew up. They've had children. I have 10 grandchildren now, and they're starting to grow up too. I'm dying. Good days and bad, but the good are quickly getting rarer. My kids are talking to each other about it and individually to me. My youngest son from my current marriage called my second youngest for support after having dealt with me on a particularly bad day. My youngest thinks his older brothers hold a great deal of resentment towards him for being my replacement family, and me for leaving them with a mother that didn't spend child support on things like electricity or running water. I haven't spoken to my eldest children about my conversation with my youngest yet. I'm not sure if I should bring it up or let them if they want to. I feel justified with my decision, but I'm no longer sure if I'm at peace with it. Am I the asshole? Alright, so literally just getting started with the story, the fact that she lit the guy's house on fire is honestly that's honestly really crazy. Honestly that's actually wild. But I think especially when you're in a relationship that's very controlling or intensive, as with this person's case, I think that the divorce was natural, and I know in a way he didn't leave them on purpose, but I do understand how the kids felt. They felt like their father just left them, you know. But I think it was the right decision. However, I don't know if the kids will ever really understand. You know what I mean? I feel like they'll always hold that sort of resentment because that's how they felt when they were younger, when they couldn't understand until they were older, obviously. So I don't think he's the asshole here. I mean, let me know in the comments, guys, for each one if you guys think that the person is an asshole or if you don't think they are. So let's go ahead and move on to the second story. Okay, so am I the asshole for sleeping with my friend after I've been married? Okay, here we go. By sleeping, I literally mean sleeping, like snoozing. Oh, okay. Okay, let's get into it. Me, 26 female, and my husband, 27 male, have been married for 7 years and together for a total of 11 years. We have always been happy with each other, and I love my husband with everything in me, but recently he has been complaining about how I use too many blankets and he gets too hot. I snuggle him too much, I use too many blankets, I go to bed too early / too late, and more stuff like that. So I promised him I would go to bed when he did, I would use only one pillow and one blanket, and I wouldn't cuddle with him anymore. He didn't think that was good enough. He is refusing to sleep in the same bed as me. He sleeps in our guest room while I sleep alone. This has been going on for almost 3 months, and we haven't had sex a single time. He's never complained about my sex. He's just been refusing. He keeps telling me things like, if we aren't in the same bed, why would we have sex? And stuff like that. I have a high sex drive, and so does he. Early into our marriage, we would have sex about 3 times a week, but that's not what I'm complaining about. I miss my husband. Ever since he started sleeping away from me, he has barely spoke to me. He gets up at 6 a.m. every day, leaves at 8 a.m., and gets back home at 7 to 8 p.m. His job hours are 9 to 5. I don't know where he is going, and I feel unwanted. So back to my point. Recently, my friend, 26 female, got divorced. She couldn't afford her house, so I let her move in with me. I've known her since we were both two. Now she does have her own room, but she is having the same problem as me, as she feels lonely and unwanted. So we sleep in the same bed every night. We don't have sex, we just cuddle. Now, I will admit I give her small kisses on the forehead, and she does the same to me, but my love language is touch, so if I can't touch my husband, I'll need someone else to kiss. I've never touched her lips once. We've never done anything more than goodnight kisses on the cheek or forehead. We have been snuggling together for about 3 weeks now, and my husband is pissed. He told my whole homophobic family that I kicked him out of our bedroom so I could sleep with a girl. Okay, let's put pause on there for a second. Yeah, just like this is just like honestly, like I just feel like the husband, he's like trying to like I feel like he's, like, getting her ramped up for a divorce almost by, like, just, like, putting everything down, like, she was willing to make a compromise so that they could still sleep together, and he was like, "No, that's not good enough, like, I don't want none of this." And then, like, refusing to have, like, sex and stuff, like, that just means he's not interested, and, like, low-key, like, kinda crazy, honestly, but the fact that he's complaining now that she has her friend sleeping over with her, I mean, like, I can kind of understand the husband's perspective, but at the same time, he's the one who didn't wanna sleep with her in the first place. So, honestly, I don't even know why he's complaining, and the fact that he went to her family, like, he's just trying to start drama or something right now. Honestly, I don't even know, but let's keep reading, okay? I just need advice and to know if I'm the a-hole for snuggling with someone else. My husband is yelling at me almost every night now. He has thrown stuff, broken plates. I made him a fancy dinner so we can talk and catch up. He took the plate I made for him and threw it on the ground, creating a big mess. Yes, he does pay the bills. My friend doesn't pay for anything, and she's just simply too depressed. My whole family hates me now. His family, he does. The only one I have is my friend. And honestly, she's not enough. I feel unwanted and lost. My husband called me a hoe ass bitch who doesn't know how to keep my hands out of women's pants. Oh my god. That's kind of crazy. By the way, neither my husband or I are homophobic. Our families are religious and homophobic, so that's why they are so pissed at me. Edit, this is a throwaway account, and edit, I just got home. I'm gonna try to talk to him now. Okay, here's an update. We had about an hour long talk. I cried. He did a bit too. We want each other and we love each other. I read some people say that he could have ED, so I discussed it with him. I admitted to be kissing my friend's forehead and cheeks. There he did get a bit pissed, but he admitted to cheating on me as well. Oh god. See what I mean? He was ramping up for the divorce and then just got mad when her friend came over. We decided therapy or divorce will be the best option. Thank you for all the advice. We will not be sleeping together again, meaning her friend and her, and my husband and I are thinking about starting to do so again. I feel really bad. The reason he was coming home late was because he would drink away the fact that he cheated on me. He said he is going to cook for me tomorrow. Thank you to all the comments that had me talk to him. I feel so much better. My friend is pissed I won't allow her to sleep with me anymore, so she is moving out. I think she had feelings for me. I'm not sure what to do with her. Oh, actually, this is actually like so messy. I lost my friend, but may have gained back a husband. I don't know what to do really. Okay, so small update. I'm seeking therapy and a divorce lawyer. Okay, there's one last edit. For everyone saying how I didn't cheat, there are so many people telling me I did. I don't know which one is true, but I'm just going to assume I did. I reached out to my family and they said how I was cheating on him. They know I didn't have sex with the girl, but they still call it cheating. Me and my friend are on good terms again, and my husband and I are working on a divorce. Honestly, I think the divorce is for the better. I mean, clearly, like, she had some issues going on with the friend, but, like, the husband, like, he, like, straight up cheated on her, and I, like, understand, like, he feels bad, but that's, like, literally his actions. Like, he literally did that. So it's, like, it's literally his fault. Like, I don't know why, like, I mean, I understand, like, she tried to justify it in her head, like, "Oh, I feel bad now because he felt bad, that's why he wasn't at home," but that still doesn't justify his actions, and I feel like a better way of him for, like, making up with the fact would be to, like, help her out or, like, do something that would make her feel better, not something that would make her feel worse, like staying away from home more. It's, like, honestly kind of crazy. All right. That was a pretty crazy story. All right, let's go to the next one. Am I the asshole for going no contact with my biological father over an inappropriate gift? Okay. So honestly, I've seen a lot of Reddit stories over this, but let's see if this one is. Let's see how crazy this one is. Oh no, guys, I lost my page. Hang on with me there. Okay, here we go. My son's 3 years old, and my grandfather tried to gift him an inappropriate gift. Before Christmas, my 28-year-old female father, 50. I'm so confused right now. Okay, I think she meant that she's 28 years old. Okay. Before Christmas, I, 28-year-old female, and father, 51 male, bought my son a scooter for Christmas. The gift was fine with myself and my husband, 30-year-old male. The problem I'm having is after he got the scooter, he removed the original grip tape and added grip tape with an inappropriate photo on it. I'll attach the photo below. I explained to his grandfather that I was uncomfortable giving my toddler a toy with a picture as risque as the one placed. He does not respond well to this and went off on me about how he is the child's grandparent and should be able to act like one. He also texted my husband to question him on his sexuality, saying, I'm trying to understand my daughter. I'll post a few of the messages between us, but ultimately ended the messaging because I felt like I was talking to a brick wall. He wouldn't listen. Last week he sent me a text and I've decided to go no contact with him. Everyone I've asked said I'm not the asshole. I guess I just need validation for cutting him off. Okay, so this picture is it's low-key kind of crazy. Like it's like those like anime girl pictures but like crazy body proportions and like oh my gosh. It's like low-key really crazy to be giving a toddler. Like, honestly, I feel like no contact is a little crazy, but the fact that the grandfather didn't even, like, apologize or he, like, kept making excuses for it, probably should be going no contact with him for that. Yeah, that's definitely extremely valid. I 100% support that. Like, that's actually not okay. Anywho, let's go on to the next one. Am I the asshole for letting my daughter keep her room? My 47-year-old male daughter, Stacy, 15-year-old female. Oh my god, all of these have so many spelling errors. Me, 47-year-old female, my daughter, 15-year-old female, has one of the two rooms in my house with an ensuite bathroom. It's the largest room with a nice bay window, obviously very nice. I recently become engaged to my girlfriend of 3 years, Alice, 33-year-old female, and her landlord has recently hiked her rent, so we're planning to have her move in with me. She has some kids. She has two daughters, one 13-year-old female and one 10-year-old female, and two sons, one 11-year-old male and one 9-year-old male. She is also pregnant with our daughter due in about 5 months. I made it absolutely clear to my daughter as a condition of getting her approval on moving my girlfriend in that she is allowed to keep her room, and she is also allowed to have a full lock on her door. For what it's worth, I also got my son's 24-year-old male's blessing to give away his old room, although that's more of a moot point as he lives with his own girlfriend now. My daughter plans to go to school locally, and I have told her in no uncertain terms that she's welcome to live at home for the rest of my life, and after that, she can inherit the house. I bought the house with her mother and paid it off in large part with her mother's life insurance 10 years ago, so it only seems fair. She says she's alright as long as she has her room and her bathroom, and she's allowed to put a lock on her door. She has a toaster oven and a mini fridge in there, so I guess she's pretty well set up. Stacy will be giving up a room that she's currently using, a studio/project space, because she does art, videos, and voiceovers, so even her larger room will become a bit more cramped and she'll definitely need the extra space she has. There will be a bedroom for Alice's girls, Stacy's old project room, and Alice's boys will be getting my son's old room. I'm going to be putting in a finished nursery slash bedroom in the basement for our new daughter. Alice thinks that this is unfair. She thinks it was wrong of me to make the decision without her, and she also thinks that she should move her two daughters into Stacy's rooms, and that Stacy should have to move to the smaller room that they'll be getting. The two of them already share a smaller room than the one I'm moving them into as it is, so they are getting an upgrade regardless. Alice thinks that it's not fair for Stacy to have a bathroom all day herself, and that there won't be enough bathrooms for everyone else. She also disapproves of Stacy being able to lock everyone out. There were other smaller things she didn't like that I agreed to with Stacy, like the fact that she is to be paid for any babysitting, or the fact that my older car, her mom's old car, is hers when she gets her driver's license. We'll have our own bathroom in the master bedroom, and the house has three other bathrooms besides, one on each floor, one near what will be her girls' room, and one not far from what will be the boys' room, and one little basically be directly next to the new finished room. I told Alice that my deal with Stacy is non negotiable and set in tone, and that it's a literal condition of her moving in. Alice is upset that Stacy and I both have spaces completely dedicated to ourselves. I have my office, which I need because I work from home and have projects besides, and there aren't a whole other spaces to put people. I told her she can pretty much do what she wants in the living room, but that is what it is, and there's pretty much nothing to be done about it. Okay, taking a quick break. Um, Honestly, I feel like I can understand the perspective of the new girlfriend moving in, like thinking of how it's not fair, but I think the fact that she's like the girlfriend and she is being let to move in is all that there is to say about this. Like if this is the wife or if they're married now and they like want to figure things out, like I can slightly understand that, but the fact that they're not even married and she's like arguing about what her kids get with his own daughter who's already been living in the house that him and her mom paid for from her life insurance when she died. But I think that this is like not okay because she's already being like let to move in and stuff. And I think the fact that she's just like, like putting her nose in everyone's business and like getting mad about all these little things just like goes to show that like don't know if she actually likes him or if she is just using him for the money. You know what I mean? I don't know, but let's keep reading. A bigger house is not an option unless Alice is going to start making a hell of a lot more money and buy her own bigger house. It's already a pretty big house and housing is expensive. I told her that she's already getting a break by me only expecting her to contribute 15 or 20% to household bills. If we were doing it proportionally, it would be more like 25 to 30%. We keep separate finances and we agreed to a prenup. Alice just seems upset that I won't change the setup even though there's no real way to change it, and she's accused me of treating Stacy like a spoiled little princess and letting her be queen of the house. Frankly, my daughter comes first. She's lived here all her life, and I already know it's going to be a big adjustment having all these other kids moved in. As much as I love Alice, and as much as I want our relationship to work out, if it's a matter of choosing between the two of them, then my relationship with Alice is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I've told her that if she comes in with this wicked stepmother vibes, that I'll be the end of things. She thinks I'm being unreasonable. Am I the asshole? I do not think you're being unreasonable, and honestly, I'm very glad that this dad is standing up for his daughter because most of the times I feel like situations like these, the dad just lets the daughter get like pushed over and like treated badly by like a stepmother, and like I mean, obviously she's not a stepmother in this opinion, but she could be in the future, and that's like the vibe it's giving, like he said. But I think he's definitely not the asshole for sure, like 100% not the asshole. All right, let's go to the next one. Am I the asshole for tricking my ex into admitting to her affair? I felt like something was off, so I went through her phone and found messages between her and a male friend that seemed suspicious. So these messages included like discussing meetups, flirting, talking in coded language about stuff. There was nothing overt, but it was still pretty sketchy, right? I figured she'd just lie and bury things deeper if I confronted her, and in parentheses they said, and she was actually cheating. So I set up a fake Instagram account and sent her a message saying I knew she was fucking her friend and had the receipts and was going to contact her partner in 3 days whether or not she confessed. The next day, she sat me down and admitted to cheating, but wouldn't tell me who it was or how long it had been going on. She said sorry, she loved me, and wanted to make things work, and it meant nothing. Blah, blah, blah. I told her that I already knew and that it was me who sent her the message. My ex lost it and I had to leave the apartment and go stay with a friend to get away from her. She was gone along with most of her clothes when I came back the next day. She completely trashed the place while I was gone. This all happened a few weeks ago and has been pretty rough ever since. It sucked having to find a new place to live and separating our stuff while dealing with feeling like shit. To make it feel worse, I'd met the guy several times, shaken his hand, bought him a drink, and thought he was harmless. Mostly, I feel like an idiot for having trusted her. I've never cheated on anyone and assume my ex was cut out of the same cloth. My ex is adamant that I'm an asshole for what I did to her, but I don't really feel like I owe her anything. I don't know. Am I the asshole? Alright. 110% no. I think that the fact that he had to even go and send that message and like get her to admit that she was cheating, first place just like proves everything. Like he just did what he needed to do to get her to admit it so he could move on. And I think she could be mad about that, but she was the one who was cheating in the first place. So I think like there's nothing to be mad about here. Like honestly, like I don't know. I don't even know how like it's like they're trying to like gaslight people, you know? Like people are trying to gaslight other people like you're the asshole, like it's your fault when they were literally cheating in the first place. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of weird. So, anyhow, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for holding my boyfriend accountable for lacing me? Oh gosh. Okay. I need some perspective on a situation that's been weighing heavily on me. I'm 25 years old and my boyfriend 27 male and I have been together for 2 years. I always thought we had a strong and trusting relationship. However, recently I discovered that he had been lacing my drinks with substances without my knowledge or consent. Okay, literally number one big red flag right here. Just no, like you can't be doing that. Just no, like run. Run in the opposite direction, girl. Like run as far away as you can. My gosh. It all started when I began feeling strange after having drinks with him at home. I noticed that I would feel unusually drowsy and disoriented even after just one drink. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just fatigue or stress, but when it continued to happen, I became suspicious. I decided to confront my boyfriend about it, and after some hesitation, he admitted to secretly adding substances to my drinks. He claimed he did it because he thought it would be fun or exciting for me, but he never asked for my consent or considered the potential risks and consequences. I was shocked, hurt, and furious. I'm 25 years old and I felt violated and betrayed by my 27-year-old boyfriend who I trusted. I couldn't believe that he would put my health and safety at risk without my knowledge or consent. I immediately broke up with him and cut off all contact. Now some of my friends are saying that I was being too harsh on him. They argue that he didn't mean any harm and that I should forgive him since we had a good relationship before this incident. They say that everyone makes mistakes and that I shouldn't ruin a good thing over a one-time error in judgment. But I can't shake off the feeling of betrayal and violation. I feel like I can't trust him anymore, and I'm worried about what else he might have done without my knowledge. Am I the asshole for holding him accountable and ending the relationship? 110%. And there's so many stuff I've seen recently surfacing on the news of people doing this for years to their wives. Like, literally, like, okay, so a woman was like almost like 70 years old, and the husband was still doing it to her, drugging her, assaulting her and stuff. But like genuinely, when you see the early signs of stuff like this, like it's just not okay. Like it's not fun or exciting. Like it's literally drugs. Like she could die. Like if he's using something like crazy like fentanyl or something, a little bit more and she's gonna die. Like this is not funny. Like no, completely justified. Like run in the opposite direction, girl. Like this person did the complete right choice. Like 110%. All right, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for considering ending 6-year relationship because my fiance canceled our plans? I, 28-year-old female, and my fiance, 26-year-old female, had a disagreement the other day. For Christmas, we got 4 tickets to a stand-up show, so we invited 2 of our friends to come along, made plans, and booked a restaurant before the show. It is now less than 2 weeks until the show, and my fiance told me that she can no longer go since she's playing a football match that evening. I got upset since it's so close to the date and I don't really have other friends that go well with the ones we invited. I said it felt like she wasn't prioritizing me as this had been planned for 4 months. She got angry at me for being upset and said I didn't understand and then started saying some hurtful things. I decided to let it go. Yesterday we had dinner at her parents' house and I asked her about an upcoming event for my work, also less than a month away. She told me that she wasn't going to that as her cousin had invited her to see their new baby and spend the night. I again got upset and told her that she had already said she was going to go and that I asked to add her to the invitation list. She said that she couldn't go another day to her cousin's house as she had work and made it out as I was making a big deal out of it. When I kept arguing, she said that it might make me look bad at work with such short notice. She said something along the lines of, fine, I guess I just won't go see my cousin then. I'm feeling really defeated and she has been cranky with me since I just feel like it's childish that she won't talk to me. What really broke the camel's back was how she has been short and snappy with me and the 4-year-old boy we foster for a weekend, a month. She locked herself away as I gave him a bath. We watched a movie and did bedtime. I feel like if she can act like this not only to me but also ignore a young child, what does that mean for the possible children in our future? Please give me some advice. I'm not sure what to do, and I've asked her to talk to a professional, but she doesn't want to. Am I the asshole for considering ending this relationship? So I think that this is a red flag, and I think like the first time, like okay, it's kind of annoying, but like, okay, let's move on. And the second time is a little like, okay, like, come on, you know? But the fact that she's just ignoring the child and her is kind of crazy because, like, like that, like she said, that could mean for children in the future if she gets mad. Like, she's gonna be mad at the kid too. Like, come on. Like, that's like if your parents fought and then they both decided to just start ignoring you, or one of them just decided to start ignoring you. Like, that's not okay. And I think that's a pretty major red flag. And I think, like, this might not be, like, one thing to end the entire relationship, but I think this definitely does bring you to consider ending it, especially if there's other red flags that you haven't picked up on yet that you're starting to pick up on. I would definitely consider ending the relationship after that one. For sure. All right, guys. Let's go to the next story. Yep. Oh, I lost my page again, guys. Sorry. Alright. Am I the asshole for upstaging my sister's wedding announcement with my adoption news? Alrighty. Here we go. I've been in the process of adopting a child for the past 2 years. It's been an emotional roller coaster, and only a handful of close family and friends knew about it because I didn't want to jinx it until everything was final. My older sister, let's call her Emma, got engaged around the same time I started the adoption process. Our family has been thrilled, planning for her big day next summer. Emma's always been the type to love attention, but I've been supported and helped with preparations wherever I could. This past weekend, I received the final confirmation the adoption had gone through, and I was officially going to be a mom. Overjoyed, I wanted to tell my family in person, so I thought of our regular Sunday family dinner at our parents' house would be perfect. Well, it turns out Emma had a similar idea. She planned to announce her wedding venue and date at the same dinner without telling anyone. The dinner started, and everyone was in good spirits. Before I could share my news, Emma stood up, clinking her glass for attention, and beamed as she revealed her wedding plans. Our family burst into excited chatter, and in that moment, I felt like my news could wait until later in the evening or even another day. But then, my mom, who was one of the few who knew about the adoption, gave me a knowing look and mouth. Now's the perfect time. Caught up in the emotion and encouraged by my mom's enthusiasm, I stood up and announced, and I have some news too. I'm going to be a mom. The adoption is final. The room erupted. Half the family rushed towards me, showering me with congratulations. But when I looked at Emma, her face had fallen. She excused herself from the table and didn't return for the rest of the evening. After the dinner, my parents and several relatives said that while they were happy for me, I should have waited and not stolen Emma's thunder. Emma texted me saying I was an asshole for upstaging her on purpose, and that I could have chosen any other day to announce my news. My intention wasn't to overshadow her announcement, and now I feel torn up about it. Emma and I haven't spoken since, and the family is divided on whether I was insensitive or whether it was just an unfortunate coincidence. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for sharing my adoption news on the same night as my sister's wedding venue announcement? Alright, so honestly, I feel like if she was announcing that she was getting married, like, I would say, yeah, you are the asshole for doing that, but it's just her wedding venue, so I feel like it's not as big of a deal. It's just kinda like, like an update in the news cycle, and, like, the same thing with her adoption, it's also kinda like an update. So I feel like you're not the asshole for that, because I feel like, okay, like, the wedding venue is cool and all, but, like, it's not like a crazy announcement, like, we knew you were gonna have a wedding venue, we just didn't know where it was, you know what I mean? So I feel like definitely not the asshole on this one for sure. But I feel like if it was like something more crazy, like you're announced that you're getting married or you announced that you got engaged, like I feel like okay, then it would probably be a little bit, like I might be the asshole. But for this one, I feel like probably not. All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Am I the asshole for saying I can't change a baby's diaper? So I'm a 31-year-old female and I have no kids and I'm single. I have two nieces, 4 years and 2 years. We're on a family vacation and I have to work. I would have taken off, but they kept changing dates last minute and was told very last minute to leave for vacation. I'm a project manager and all my projects are coming to a close, so I'm desperately trying to get my work done in the morning so I can do family time in the afternoon. My sister and her husband took the 4-year-old on a long walk this morning and asked my dad to babysit since I was trying to wrap up stuff so I can hang with everyone. Well, the baby's diaper had to be changed. My dad walks upstairs with the baby and said, "The baby's diaper has to be changed." And I said, "Do you not know how to change a diaper?" Just generally asking because he doesn't know how to do it. He said, "I don't change diapers." I stared at him and said, "I'm trying to get stuff done. I'm super busy," he said. "Why are you always trying to prove something?" Now I feel frustrated and sad, and I'm already stressed trying to get this stuff done. Why do I feel like I'm the asshole? All right. Honestly, this one is a little tricky. I feel like it's just kind of like a the dad doesn't really want to do it, so he tried to get the daughter to do it, and I guess the daughter doesn't want to do it either. I mean, if she doesn't know how to change a baby's diaper, I feel like that's pretty valid though, because she has no kids, and like honestly, like who's gonna teach you how to change a baby's diaper if you don't have any kids? Like you essentially teach yourself when you have kids. So I feel like this is pretty valid of her not to know, but I think maybe the tone of how she said it could have upset her father, but overall, I don't think she's a complete asshole for it. Just like a small little misunderstanding type deal, you know what I mean? Alright, our next one is: am I the asshole for feeling like my eldest daughter should be treated the same as my real children? Alright, so this one definitely has a lot of trigger warnings, and it is very, very long. Super long. So let's get into it. When my 45-year-old male When me, 45-year-old male, and my daughter, 13-year-old female, was born, I immediately felt that something was obviously amiss. She was blonde haired and blue eyed, which was extremely unlikely for a child of myself and my ex wife, who was 39-year-old female. I am very Mediterranean and I have olive skin, dark eyes, and dark hair. My ex wife has brown eyes and relatively dark brown hair. Her skin is barely lighter than mine. The baby also clearly bore no resemblance to me or anyone in my family at all. I'd been having misgivings about my ex too, and she seemed quick to express surprise and make excuses. Still, though, I didn't want to throw away my marriage over what could have been my own misunderstanding of genetics, and so I signed the birth certificate. I instantly knew I was going to have a paternity test, but something else surprised me. When I brought our little girl home, I still fell in love with her. I felt just like bringing my son, who's male 14, home and looking at her. I still just saw her as an innocent, beautiful little baby, so we bonded. The paternity test came back negative as I suspected it would, and I decided that our marriage was over. I still loved our little girl though. My then wife did everything that she could to drag out the divorce and refused to separate or move out. My daughter's biological father, every bit as blonde and blue eyed as expected, turned out to want nothing to do with her or my ex. He was already married with his own family, and his only focus was preventing the situation from blowing back on himself too much. My ex went totally nuts when both I and her affair partner rejected her, and she made some very unfortunate decisions. To make a long story short, she ended up with prison time for crimes including identity theft, assault with a deadly weapon, and grand theft auto when she stole credit cards and forged documents for both of us, and when she stole her affair partner's car and tried to run him over with it. Just a moment of silence for that. Like, honestly, just no comment. That's just insane. He did the good thing of leaving her. I ended up with custody of our kids, with the affair partner never even attempting to establish any kind of paternity rights. I didn't want to press the issue myself, as I couldn't deny that I had bonded with this child, even knowing that she wasn't my real daughter. I had been shunning my ex wife as best I could, trying to move on with my life after she was finally out of the house. It wasn't long before I got together with and married my current wife, who's female 34 years old, and we've since had another two children, male 10 and female 8. My eldest daughter is a total daddy's girl, and we have a wonderful relationship. She always feels loved, and I treat her the same as my other kids, even though she obviously stands out. My family accepts her too, and at least that's what I thought. I work for my father's company, and the other day we were talking about the future and his will, and he was talking about what money slash assets he wanted to leave to whom, including his grandchildren. And I noticed that my older daughter had been left out. I mentioned it to him, and he said, "It's nice what you've done for insert daughter's name, but you have real children, and obviously they should come first." I interrupted him and told him that she is my real daughter, and that I thought she should be treated equally. He just paused and looked at me for a moment and said, feel I guess you feel how you feel." Before he noticed, I was still about to argue with him, and he shrugged and moved the conversation onto things about my work and my siblings. I was too polite to try to force the matter at the time, but it sort of stuck with me. My father isn't the type to man My father isn't the type of man to harp on a point. I'm certain he's content to have said that his piece and would let the matter drop. He could certainly tell what he said upset me, and so I doubt he'd bring it up again. Frankly, he sort of raised me the same way. At the time, I was shocked because he always seemed to accept my daughter as part of the family. He buys her gifts for her birthday and for Christmas and makes her feel welcome. But thinking about it, he really is just a kind, polite, and generous man in a lot of ways. He will and has bought Christmas gifts for high school friends or significant others if he knew they were coming, and the same for other gift giving occasions. He's generally very hospitable to anyone his friends or family bring around, so I thought that maybe it was just that, and I misinterpreted. My wife is Asian, and so my eldest daughter always stands out. She's thin and blonde and blue eyed, unlike pretty much everyone else in my family, and she's taller than any of the other girls, or even most women, really, so I'm aware that she might look like the neighbor kid visiting or something. My wife loves her, and I know that she 100% accepts her as one of our kids, and she has been a great mom/slash stepmom. I talk to my own mother though, and while she's definitely closer to my daughter than my father is, they interact a lot more, and she includes my daughter with the other kids/slash other girls in family traditions and activities. I got a little bit of the same vibe from her. She was much more diplomatic, but it seems like she also may have sort of considered my daughter to be sort of a guest. Unfortunate orphan I'm hosting, or something like that. She pointed out that I make my own will however I want. She pointed out that I can make my own will however I want. My daughter knows that she isn't biologically mine. That would have been hard to hide, even if we really had the opportunity. She doesn't want anything to do with her biological parents, though. She's seen her biological dad perhaps a handful of times in her entire life. I don't even think he can remember her middle name. He seems to have pretty successfully kept his family together and his wife from leaving him, but he definitely doesn't want any involvement. My ex wife continued to spiral for a long time, and she lives in another state with another man and her own new family at this point. She mercifully rarely makes contact. Thank God, for real. I've never really tried to go after either of them for money. I don't need to, and it's not a pot I want to stir. My siblings are mostly supportive, if a little bit mixed on the issue. Some of them say that they could never raise a child of a partner's affair, but all of them say that they love and accept their niece. I just can't get over the way that I feel distant and upset about what my father said, though. He's an extremely kind and generous man, and he's always taking care of his family. He's given me opportunities and a lifestyle that I could have never achieved without him. I love him and I look up to him. Maybe that's why I feel sort of, I don't know, betrayed. It feels wrong that she's the only one of his grandchildren to be left out of his will, apparently because he doesn't consider her a real grandchild. Intellectually, I can accept that he's technically correct, but it feels wrong. She is my daughter. Am I wrong though, or am I just being entitled and unreasonable here? Am I the asshole? All right. So here's a quick comment we're gonna read on this one. But I get why members of your family might consider you foolish for raising the result of your ex-wife's affair. But honestly, it speaks well of your character that you treat her as your own. I wonder if your parents would be similarly not accepting if you had adopted a child, because practically that is what happened. That's true. So this person thinks that he's not the asshole. And another person also said, no, you're a god damn saint. Problem is, you're thinking other people will be saints too, and they're not. Their reactions are understandable, but it makes me sad for when she eventually learns the truth of how they see her. Honestly, not that's really valid. Like, he is an absolute saint. Alright, so here's an update. This was last year in June. Just a small update. Thanks for the comments and wishes. It really puts a lot of things into perspective, and it just confirmed to me that I need to say something. Some people seem surprised at the way I let my daughter's biological parents off the hook, so to speak. The main reason I've never tried to go after my ex or her affair partner for child support is that my daughter is more important than Buddy. I'm not struggling at all, and I have the support I need. More importantly, though, I have my daughter. Even though the affair partner didn't apparently want anything to do with her, my lawyer did mention way back in the day that either he or my wife, being her biological parents, could have a strong case for seeking custody. I know I'm biased, but her biological dad seemed like a huge asshole, and I know he doesn't care about her. I wouldn't put it past him trying to get custody just to duck out of paying child support, though, if his hand was forced. And this idea of her having to go stay with him is just something I don't even want to think about. Kind of the same thing when her mom got out of prison. She didn't seem like she was very quick to go shack up with her new guy, and she seemed willing to let the matter lie, so I did the same. The fact that neither of them tried to get her, or in my ex's case, the way she hadn't even bothered to keep much contact with our son, either tells me more than everything I need to know about the kind of parents they are/slash would be. They only seem interested in their pre-existing/slash new families respectively. I wouldn't want to try to back them into trying to take custody. With my daughter being 13, it's possible that we've sort of run out the clock on that matter, but it's still not drama we need a risk worth taking. In better and more important news, though, I talked to my dad. I met with my father for lunch, which was easy enough as he's around most days and we could sync up sometime. I mentioned that I wanted to talk about our daughter not being in his will, and I told him that even if it meant dividing what was being left to me or my kids, I felt like it was really important for her to be included. I also mentioned as I felt, as a lot of people pointed out, that it would be devastating for her to find out that she'd been excluded after his death. My father agreed that it was a really good point, and he said that she was a lovely girl and that he does love her and that he wouldn't want to add extra pain or bitterness to her life, especially at such a time. Also, it had gotten around to him that I'd been sort of polling my siblings a little bit, and I think my mom talked to him some and said, "This is obviously very important to you, and you're my son. I can just change it. It's not so much money, anyways." And he was right. The amounts of money being left to my individual grandchildren aren't massive, but the gesture and the thought are what's most meaningful. Mostly everything is going to my mom and or his kids anyway. Really, there was no reason for me to expect him to have been stubborn or hard-hearted about any of this. It was just something that we needed to talk about. My father reiterated that everyone loves my daughter and that she'll always be family and I'll always have a home. He has a golden bracelet that he's worn somewhat occasionally over the years, and he mentioned that my daughter thought it was pretty. When she was very little, she noticed it on his wrist and said the jewelry was for girls. He laughed and explained to her that sometimes boys wear jewelry too. She thought it was nice and he let her try it on, even though it was way too big for her wrist. She was a little toddler then, and I didn't know about that moment between them, and I thought it was really sweet that he remembered. He said that he was going to leave her the bracelet and a note, and that as far as Buddy goes, she'd get the same share as the rest of my kids. So we had a nice lunch, and we both felt better for it. Nothing too dramatic, but we really the best way things could have gone. Thanks everyone for confirming that I wasn't being crazy, and then confirming that I needed to talk to my father and set things right. Gosh. That was a crazy long story. Like, my throat is so dry right now, but honestly, I'm so glad that his father was like willing to talk to him, talk things through, and just like change things. Because honestly, like, think about how sad you would feel like after someone died, like, you're not in their will. Like, I feel like that would just bring so many thoughts to your brain and just make you really sad, honestly. So, honestly, I'm really glad that they were able to like patch things up and stuff. Oh my gosh. So I wanted to read another story, but it is so long. So let's read a shorter one. Not me finding an even longer one. That's actually so funny. Alright. Finally found one, guys. Am I the asshole for outing my wife as a late blooming lesbian? Okay. Maybe. Let's read. I'm recently divorced after 22 years when my wife unexpectedly served me with divorce papers last year. I always felt I was a good husband and was an excellent dad. I took pride in this and it was my identity. We were both complimented by my family and many friends. We stuck together and worked together to solve really complex issues. We lost our first child to SIDS and raised two twins to adulthood and still have a medically complex 15-year-old that we share custody of. I get that intimacy in the best of situations can lessen, but excluding a few mutually drunk nights, my ex was completely disinterested for a decade. She made comments like, "If only I had a sister wife that could handle your needs and wants," or "The bedroom is always too cluttered to feel romantic surrounded by a mess." I made multiple efforts to clean the house, and even I hired a cleaner to no effect. Finally, after a heart to heart, she informed me that she was not attracted to me and that she was interested in women. She told me the term late blooming lesbian, and I looked it up is far more common than I knew. The problem is she failed to share any of this with her family or our kids. I finally was fed up and told her very religious mom and brother and showed them a photo of pages out of her diary to prove this. So am I the asshole for directing a key factor they had no idea of? So honestly, I'm not sure. Like low key, like depending on what he said, he could be the asshole. Like just telling her parents like that. But to be fair, they were gonna figure out some point or another. But the fact that they're religious and he knew that and he told them that, it kind of feels like he's trying to bite back in a way. But honestly, this one is kind of undecided. Like you guys have to let me know down in the comments because I have absolutely no idea. Anywho, guys, that's all the Am I the Asshole stories for today. Let me know which guns you guys liked, if you like the shorter ones or if you guys like the really long ones. I like the long ones, but oh my god, they're so long to read. My throat gets so dry. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and let me know if you guys want me to do more Reddit stories because I was considering doing some paranormal Reddit stories. Love me a good paranormal kick. So maybe next episode we can do that. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching and we'll see you next week for another episode of Bridging the Gap. Bye.